What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for coming back. So before the video starts, I just want to do a quick intro. Today's video is going to be a $5 for 2 weeks worth of food video, and this, like all my other videos, is a basic video on basic recipes that you can feel free to add more items to. If you have more money, like a few dollars, to add fresh fruits, veggies like apples, bananas, or lettuce, spinach, frozen veggies, any of that stuff to these meals to help bulk up the meals or to act as a supplement, please feel free to do that. Like I said, with all my videos, these are basic recipes just to show you that if you had to get by with just these items, you could very well get by with those items. At the same time, if you are struggling, I always mention going to your local food bank, going to your local churches, or that 211 phone number is always available. People don't utilize it as much as I think that they should, and people don't mention it as much. I'm not sure, people don't know a lot about it, but always reach out if you need assistance. There's always help out there. But if you have $5 or you're looking to stretch your budget, feel free to do this. So today's video is a little different, being that this is for a single person. Usually I do my videos based on a large family, which I have a family of 6, but today's video I will be doing it based on one person. So this is great for people that live alone, college students, maybe you're on a specific diet and your family's on a specific diet. Maybe you're doing a food budget challenge. I don't know, but this is a great resource on how you can spend only $5 and have meals for up to 2 weeks. I say that these are good for 10 to 14 days, but depending on how much you eat, that will determine how much food you'll have. So of course I'll have some clips in here showing you guys what kind of foods that I use to prepare these meals. I did all of this basically like a meal prep type video. I prepared all the food in one day just to show you the different types of ideas that you can make. So it's a great idea to prep a lot of things. You'll see at the beginning of the video that I prepped the beans, and that's because they needed to soak overnight, and you really do want to boil those in advance so you have them throughout the week to add to your meals as you're going. And if you see me looking down, it's because I have notes. So the 5 ingredients I use for this meal prep budget meals video are rice, beans, eggs, frozen pepper mix veggie type thing, and tortillas. Now you can change that out however you want to, and I'll do more videos on different types of foods that you can add that are still within the $5, but I thought this was a good base to start because they're available at most places. So I went to my local Dollar Tree because Dollar Tree was actually cheaper than going to Walmart or to Aldi's for some reason. I don't know why, and some of the things are not on hand at those stores. So I found that Dollar Tree was the better option. Also, I wanted to keep in mind that not all Dollar Trees have a refrigerator or a frozen section, and maybe you can't get to the ones that have that. So if you do not have a frozen or refrigerated section, you can definitely omit the veggie that is in here. But if you have one, feel free to grab that out of the frozen food section, or if you can go to Walmart and grab their seasoned veggies. It's a quick, cheap, and easy way to get onions and peppers because those can be expensive depending on where you live. So as always, I like to give a breakdown of the food items that I was using. So of course I bought a dozen eggs, which came out to 12 servings of eggs. The pack of tortillas had 12 tortillas, so that's 12 servings. The rice, which was a 2-pound bag of rice, according to the bag, came out to 20 servings of rice. The package of mixed stir-fried veggies, which was just peppers and onions, was 14 ounces, and that came out to 4 servings of veggies. And the beans came out to be 10 servings. All combined, there was 58 servings of all the foods combined. But if you omitted the peppers, because I don't think anybody would just sit and survive off of a thing of peppers, so I wanted to take that out just to see, that came up to about 54 servings of food. So if you divided all those servings, the 54 servings, by 3 meals per day, you would come up with about 18 days worth of food. Now granted, you're going to eat more of everything, I'm sure of it. So that's the only reason why I said 14 days. You should be able to get by with 14 days. 10 days if you even condense down the servings and eat more. Like I said, if you're able to supplement, do that. But this is a basic recipe. And a lot of things are feeling like beans and rice. So you may not even eat a full serving, especially if you put them together. So please keep that in mind. Also, if you didn't want to add the pepper stir fry, or you didn't want to purchase that, or maybe you don't have enough to purchase that, I do have a green seasoning marinade recipe on my channel that I'll be sure to link below. And that's one way to get those veggies and those herbs and combine them, and they will last you for a good long while. I have a large family, I cook a lot, and mine lasts me for a month, sometimes even more. So that's a way of prepping if you do not have fresh onions and peppers always available to you, or maybe sometimes they're just a little more expensive. But if you have that in your freezer, you can go ahead and do that. And that's also a way to preserve onions and peppers if you happen to get a large amount of those things. And I'll try to do a video on how to maybe prep and combine things like fresh herbs and fresh veggies in order for them to last you a long time instead of having to throw them out or let them go bad. But this should be a great video. I'm interested to see all the meals that I come up with. And like I said, these are not daily meals of how I prepare them. These are just a variety of meals that you can prepare on your own using just these items. If you had only $5 and you needed 2 weeks worth of food, maybe you wanted to reduce your food budget down, but I'm showing you how you can make all these great meals for $5 a week for one person now, just one person. I mean, if you have a family of 2, maybe you can make it for a week on these meals. I don't see why you couldn't. If you're able to purchase an extra item or such to donate to local families that are in need, there's all types of organizations that are looking for extra cans, extra shelf-stable foods. So if you grab one extra, please be sure to visit your local food bank or go online and find out if there's an organization that can use a donation from you for local families that may need food during this holiday season. So I hope that you enjoyed the video. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and watch all the way to the end if possible. Thank you guys as always for coming back. Let's get into the video. So I went to Dollar Tree and I bought these 5 items, and we're going to do a week's worth of food. So here I have a dozen eggs. You have to be very careful when you go to Dollar Tree and buy the eggs. You need to look at them. And then I bought a 12 count of tortillas. And then I bought a 14 ounce of mixed pepper stir fry. A 32 ounce of long grain white rice. And a 16 ounce container of pinto beans. So these were actually cheaper at Dollar Tree, which is amazing because usually Walmart or Aldi's is cheaper, but they didn't have the sizes that I needed. They had super big sizes like they typically carry for the rice. They didn't have any of these sizes. Their beans were actually a little more expensive for what I saw because they had huge bags, and they didn't even have the pepper stir fry. So Dollar Tree was the best bet. And Aldi's, the eggs were $1.27, and they were $1 at Dollar Tree. And at Walmart, I think these eggs are like $1.80 something in my area. I'm not sure why, but that's how much they are. And tortillas were $1.89. I think it's a bigger pack, but because we're doing a meal for one person, this is a perfect size. So that's all. We're gonna see what we can do with this. So here I just have my beans that soaked overnight. I just covered them with water and kept them on the counter. And as you can see, they doubled in size and soaked up most of the water that was in there. And from there, I'm just going to go ahead and rinse those beans off. And you want to make sure you rinse off all the residue. And if you have any beans that have defects or such, you want to go ahead and pull those out. So here I have my pot, and it's hot, and I'm adding about 6 quarts of water. And from there, I'm going to add my beans that have been rinsed and drained. And I'm going to go ahead and add some salt here. And that's to flavor the beans because I'm going to use the liquid that the beans have cooked in for some of the recipes. So you want that liquid to be seasoned. And I was just showing you what my stove is on. So now about an hour has passed and my beans are fully cooked. And this is what they look like when they're cooked. And I'm just going to show you that they are completely soft. And I don't want them to be overcooked because I'm using them in other recipes where they have to cook some more. So you want them just firm, but you want them to be soft enough to where if you had to eat them now, you could eat them just as is. So here I'm just draining the beans. And like I said, I'm going to keep the remaining liquid because I'm going to use it in a couple recipes. And you see how dark that is? That is great, especially for the rice dishes that I'm going to be using it for. So here my beans are all cooked. And like I said, they're firm, but they are still soft to the touch. And I'm just showing you what they look like. Beautiful beans. And I did all that prep work ahead of time so that I had it if I needed it throughout the week. And that's what I recommend you do as well. And here I'm just pouring my liquid from the beans into the measuring cup. And I like to keep that on hand because I was doing a meal prep. I just kept everything on the side. So I just had it if I needed to pour it. So here I just wanted to show you what the veggies look like that I got from the Dollar Tree. And this is what they look like, the whole bag. And I just poured them out and they're frozen. And you always have more onions than green peppers or red peppers, but it's still pretty and it does the job. So in order to prep these, what I found is once they've thawed just a little, you want to go ahead and start chopping them if you're going to use them diced. I don't like to let them thaw because they do produce a lot of water, and I find that it's easier to chop them once they're like partially thawed. So I'm just showing you what I'm going to be using for this first recipe, and then the rest of them I like to go put them in a Ziploc and stick them in the freezer. So here's my eggs, and like I said, we're doing a meal prep, so I'm going to go ahead and open up all these eggs. And I'm going to go ahead and beat them for all my scrambled recipes that I'm going to be using. And that's what I recommend you do because the eggs can stay in the refrigerator for up to a week. And you can also freeze them if you're not going to use them right away. So in a pan, I've added a little oil and I'm going to go ahead and add my veggies. And because they're frozen and they have a lot of liquid in them, I like to go ahead and start to cook them so it can draw out some of that moisture. And there I added the eggs and I went ahead and added some salt. And look how beautiful that is. So this is eggs with veggies with the onions and the peppers. And look how pretty that is. And you can eat that as is as a meal on its own. But because I want to show you different recipes and different ways to eat these meals, I went ahead and put out a tortilla. And I recommend microwaving these tortillas just to get them pliable. And all I do is I ended up putting a wet paper towel on top of the tortilla, putting it in the microwave for about 5 seconds. And here I'm just loading the egg mixture into the tortilla and rolling it. I'm no professional roller. And also I found that if the tortilla is a little damp, it helps it to stay together. So here I'm just putting this in the frying pan with a little bit of oil just to get some color and a little crisp. The tortilla tastes so much better when it's cooked over some heat and toasted. And look how pretty that is. It was so good. Now if you have cheese and salsa, that'd be perfect. So now we're going to move over to meal number 2, which is going to be our beans and rice. And to my pot, I'm just adding my veggies. And I'm going to go ahead and season it with my favorite seasoning. So that's complete seasoning, garlic powder, a little onion powder, and some black pepper, and a little cayenne, and some Italian seasoning. Now, like I always say, you use whatever you have. And then I'm going to add some chicken bouillon powder. And like I said, the veggies are frozen, so you want to go ahead and draw out that water. So once everything's nice and incorporated, I go ahead and add my beans. And I'm just going to let some of that water evaporate from the beans and from the veggies. And I'm going to go ahead and add about 4 quarts of water here just to let you know that there was about a cup of beans here. And this was just to show you what the recipe looks like. You can double it, you can triple it, but this is enough for about 2 servings. So I would say if you're going to use it for the week, you might want to double the recipe. So here I'm just smashing my beans, and this is about after an hour of cooking. They're nice and tender, and that's how you thicken up your sauce for your beans, by mashing it on the side. And I threw a bay leaf in there. If you don't have a bay leaf, you don't have to add it. There's enough flavors here to make it delicious, but if you have one, please add it. And I was just showing you how nice and thick this was. This is a hearty meal on its own, no meat necessary here. And I just served it over some rice, and it was so good. So that was meal number 2. Nice and delicious, nice and hearty. So let's move on to meal number 3. So here we're going to do a 1-pot recipe. So to my pan, I went ahead and added my veggies, my complete seasoning, some garlic powder, onion powder, and of course some cayenne. These are my standard seasonings. And I'm going to go ahead and add some bacon fat here because that flavor needs to come from somewhere. We're not adding meat, so I always keep that on hand. Here I'm adding some chicken bouillon and some beef bouillon. If you have it, add it. If not, then don't fret. The meal is fine without it. And I went ahead and added 2 cups of rice, and the rice was rinsed. So right here I'm just toasting the rice and trying to pull some of that liquid out of the rice. And if you don't have any bouillon or any veggies, like I said, that green marinade that I have, and I'm going to put it in the description box, is perfect here. So there I went ahead and added about ½ a cup of beans. And I added 4 cups water to my pot and then stirred. So you just want to make sure that everything's nice and incorporated. And I let the pot simmer uncovered for about 10 minutes on a higher heat. Then once you see the rice at top and the water has almost evaporated, you want to go ahead and cover your pot with aluminum foil, parchment paper, wax paper, whatever you have, just to trap that steam. And you're going to turn it to the very lowest setting. And just to let you know, I had to leave for about 45 minutes to go get my son, and I turned my stove off and came back, and from the heat and the steam, it went ahead and cooked the rice on its own. So that's just to let you know that it does not take a lot of heat or a lot of water to cook the rice to perfection. So I fluffed it up, and I'm just showing you what it looks like. Nice and delicious. And this is a complete meal on its own because it has your carbohydrates and your protein. And it is so good just on its own. And to reheat this, I suggest that you put a wet paper towel in the microwave just to retain that moisture. Hey you guys, so I just wanted to kind of break down. I thought about something. I was like, you know what, not every time do you guys get to see how many actual servings the food produces. Now mind you, this is only 2 cups of rice that I use with this red beans and rice, and I'm gonna look back at the video to see how much beans I used, but I don't think I used over a cup of beans for this recipe. Of course the measurements will always be down below, but I wanted to show you what I mean when I say how many servings. So this is what I used. I used a ½ a cup twice, so that makes a full cup of rice. So each bowl here is a 10 ounce. These are 10 ounce standard bowls. 10 ounce standard bowls from Walmart. And I've had some of the rice because I plated out 1 plate, as you saw. And then see, I'm wasting. But I plated out a bowl for myself because it was good. So the plate that I actually showed you guys, I ate that. So this is what was remaining. So each bowl contains 1 cup of rice, and these are 10 ounce bowls, and that is enough to fill you up if you had to eat just this. And there's, let's count them, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 bowls, including the one that I ate, which was a pretty hearty bowl. So I would believe that that would break down to at least 11 or 12 bowls, and these are filled bowls. So just want to give you an idea of what the red beans, well, not the red beans, the beans and rice broke down to, just in case you were wondering. Because sometimes it does look like it's a little bit of food, but no, these are all equally distributed, and this is a good enough serving for anyone that needs to. Now if you need more, of course, if I was to combine this, I'm just going to show you, and I'm wasting food, but guess what, my counter is clean. I'll put it right back in there. So this is what that looks like, and that's a huge heaping serving of food, which is probably, if you were super hungry, I guess that's what you would eat, but you would still have food left over because that's a lot of food. So I just wanted to make sure that I brought that to you guys to let you know what the servings look like. Okay, back to the video. Now we're going to move into meal number 4. So this is a stir-fried rice, and to my pan I'm adding my veggies. I like to add them first as always. And there's a little oil in the pan just to go ahead and cook the veggies just a little. And because we're adding rice, we don't want it to burn. So there I'm adding my rice, and I pre-cooked this rice, and this is a very small portion of the rice, and that's because, like I said, I'm showing you guys how to do this. So this is enough for about 2 people. So I'm just seasoning my pot. Of course, I had some complete seasoning and the usual suspects, some garlic powder and some onion powder, and of course some soy sauce. And here I'm just adding some of the extra egg. Now, if you are short on eggs or you're not sure if you're going to have enough eggs, you don't have to do this. But I like to try to add protein in where I can if you're not doing meat. So I just went ahead and added the egg. And this was so delicious. And this was simple. I mean, this doesn't even take 5 minutes. The longest part is just heating up the pan. So here I went ahead and added some beans to the top of this, and that's just to add a little more protein, and you will have quite a bit of beans, so you can put that in wherever you find the need. I just garnished it with a little parsley just for presentation. And this was a nice take on a fried rice. It's nice to change up your meals if you can. Fried rices are perfect when you're on a budget. So let's move into meal number 5. And here I'm taking some of the beans that I cooked earlier. And yeah, that wasn't a good idea to try to use a potato masher because it was too big for my bowl. So I ended up using a spoon and just mashing the beans down, and they mashed pretty easily. Now here, if you wanted to just go ahead and cook beans on their own for an extra hour so that you could mash them and just have them on the side. And I'm going to make a bean and egg burrito here. You can easily make a bean burrito on its own and add a little onion, but I just wanted to kick it up just a little bit because you want to try to make these as bulky as possible. And I'm just showing you what the tortillas look like, heated versus not heated. They are very hard if you do not heat them with some type of moisture. And then I'm just adding my beans. And I'm showing that, yeah, you could just fold that and have a nice bean burrito, but no, we're going to kick it up. So I added a little egg, and I'm going to add a little bit of the veggie mix. And if you have cheese, that would be perfect here. I'm just going to go ahead and fold that over. And then I went ahead and took it over to my stove, and you saw me brown them earlier, so you know how that goes. And this is what that looks like. This was absolutely delicious because the beans were seasoned to perfection, and the addition of the eggs was, oh my gosh. So let's move on to meal number 6. And this is another burrito meal. Burritos are perfect because you can just stuff everything inside them. And you can clean your pantry or your refrigerator and add all the things in burrito and make it totally delicious. So I had my beans and rice, and I just mixed that together, and I just added that in a burrito. No need to toast this. This one I like kind of soft, but if you like to add texture, feel free to go ahead and toast that on the stove. And this was absolutely delicious. Now we're going to move into meal number 7. And here I'm scrambling the rest of the eggs that I have. And like I said, it's good to go ahead and prep everything in advance. So this is just a basic scrambled egg. And I just cooked this with oil. If you have butter or bacon fat, that is perfect to add some more flavor. I'm just going to make another burrito, and here you could just make an egg burrito if you prefer, but I wanted to add the beans in, and that's just to bulk it up a little bit and to add another dimension of texture. So there I just crisped it up, cut it in half, and that is so good. So if you like different textures, this is perfect for you. So now we're going to move into meal number 8, which is a great grab and go meal because you already have some rice and beans. And if you have some left over, you want to just go ahead and pile it into a nice burrito shell, wrap it up. And there's already tons of texture in there, so I didn't fry it up. But if you have cheese or salsa and extra veggies, you could have added it here. And there you have it, guys. So as always, thank you so much for coming to my channel. I hope that you like, comment, and share. And of course, subscribe. And until my next video, guys. Bye!